Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So as you can tell, it is cold and I'm just about to finish a shift, so waiting for site manager etc to finish, and this is going to be my last video of the year. So the first thing I need to do is wish you a Merry Christmas, because the day that this comes out it will be Christmas Day. So I've got 3 shifts left after this, but this is my last shift before Christmas Day itself. So what I just thought I'd do is I'd just kind of look back at 2021. It was a year of firsts for me. We bought our first home. I got engaged about 2 weeks ago, and then also obviously being a dog handler for the first time. So I just thought I'd look back on 2021 as a dog handler, because this is primarily what this channel is about, and I'll just go back through and just reflect on like my first year working as a dog handler and bits and pieces like that. And I suppose the first thing to really talk about is, have I enjoyed it? Have I enjoyed being a dog handler in my first year? And I'd say yes. I think it's had its kind of low points. So I started in January, and I'd say maybe February, March, definitely when it was snowing and I wasn't set up correctly. I found that hard, being on a 12-hour shift, not prepared for the cold, the snow. No matter how much I could try and keep myself warm, I just wasn't prepared for that. So I'd say it had its low points there. In the summer it was obviously great, got out, done lots of training with the dog, and different bits and pieces like that. And then I'd say the latter part of the year, when I got myself set up with the van and everything else, moving site I think was a big thing. Moving site has made a big difference as well. I've really enjoyed it. So even in them low points, I would say that I didn't hate the job, I didn't dislike the job. I just found it hard because I was inexperienced and wasn't set up correctly in order to deal with them situations. Now I feel like I am, especially with the site I'm on. I feel like I can tackle them situations, and I suppose the best way I can put it is that the whole way through this year, when I've been dog handling, I've never felt like I've been working. Even in them lowest points, when I was cold and really didn't want to be there, I never actually felt like I was working. I always felt like it was just I was out with the dog. So I feel like that's the best way to describe it, is that I've enjoyed it because I've never felt like it's been a day's work. I've never got back from a shift and felt like I didn't want to go back the next day. Even in them, like I say, them lowest days, even if I knew what was coming, I still wanted to go and do it. I still wanted to go and work with the dog. I still wanted to go out with the dog. So I think that's the best way for me to look at it, is that I've enjoyed it to the point where it's never felt like work. It's always just felt like a hobby that I was going to go and do. So I think that's the best way to put it in terms of have I actually enjoyed being a dog handler. I suppose the next question should be, what am I most proud of throughout of 2021? I'd say in terms of dog handling, I'd say the thing I'm most proud of in like my actual life is obviously buying my first place with the girlfriend, and then getting engaged, so she is now my fiance. So I think they're two of the real highlights. But in terms of dog handling, I'd say the thing that I'm most proud of about this year, I'd say the YouTube I am proud of, because it's the start of something. But next week's video, so the first video of 2022, is going to be 1 day short of a year on YouTube. So I'm actually going to just look back over the 365 days about my YouTube journey. But I'd say the thing I'm most proud of in 2021 in terms of dog handling is the standard that I got my dog at, I'm not saying my dog is the complete standard, I'm not saying he's the best dog ever, but the standard that I've managed to get him to and where we're at, I think that's where I'm most proud of, because you can't hide that work. It's, if you don't put the work in, you will get found out. So I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, where I am with my dog now, and the work that we do and the way that we conduct ourselves on site. And I wouldn't say the worker I've become, but I feel like the standards that I've set myself I'm proud of as well, and hopefully through the YouTube videos that comes across, and you guys can see that I'm proud of doing the job that I do, even though a lot of people may not even notice. Like the workers, there's a lot of workers that may not even notice that I sweep up, or I'll sweep the paths around here, or try and keep the site a bit cleaner than when I found it. There'll be people that don't even notice that, but I don't do it for that. I do it because I want Prestige to come across the right way, and I want myself to come across the right way as well. So if Prestige send an email to the site manager here and just say, look, can you just give us like a score of the dog handlers out of 10, how they're doing, things like that, I'm always going to get a good score that comes back. They're going to say, no, he's great, he really looks after the place, he does more than what we ask him to do, and things like that. And like I say, I think so the standards that I've set myself, and possibly the where my dog is now as a security dog, I feel like I'm very proud of that in 2021, as well as the YouTube channel. And something that was brought up in one of my lives a couple of weeks ago was cage detection. Now, this is not something that you are necessarily going to be taught in your NASDO. It's not something that's on like the curriculum, but it's something that's very helpful to have. And basically the cage detection is that if I was on site and I had the cage door, and if I had the back door open, and I would point this van at something that is of high value. Now, I don't do that here because I look directly at what I'm protecting. So, but if I couldn't, I would point the back of the cage at something that's high value. And the idea is that the dog would react if they smelt, heard, saw someone around this high value item. And as you can see, he's just sitting in the back. Now, the site manager will be turning up soon, and this happens every morning, so the site manager isn't going to be scared of what he does because he's used to it now. I've explained to it, he ends up calming down. And when the site manager turns up, I'll leave the camera recording down on the floor, and I'll just give you a bit of a preview of what cage detection actually is.
Cold enough for
So that is cage detection. So cage detection, like I said, is just warning you about someone being on site and warning that person when they come on site that they shouldn't be there. Now obviously that's the site manager, and like I say, he's used to that, so it's not too bad. But people that aren't on site a lot and things like that, it does catch them unawares. And I feel like the reason NASDO don't really push for it is that let's take this for example. This is very similar to the cage. This is the boundary. If my dog goes crashing into that here and frightens someone the other side, you are then in breach of the Dangerous Dogs Act. Dangerous Dogs Act? I believe it is. Where he has become threatening. So I feel like that's why NASDU don't push for it, but it is something very handy to have. Now, my dog doesn't do that here because when he was brought up here, he'd never done it. In the cage, I've taught him that to do it all the time. So even one of my best friends, who my dog is perfectly fine around, I can let himself into the house when I'm not there, and the dog's absolutely fine. But he comes to the back of the van where the cage is. He treats my best friend, exactly the same as everyone else. So yeah, like I say, it's a good thing to have. And when I've said to you before about when I go to work, I don't mind putting him in the van for a couple of minutes whilst I'll pop back in to get my bag and that, because it's very unlikely that someone's going to want to open that cage. So what do I feel like I could have done better this year as a dog handler, as like a newbie dog handler? I felt like I could have set myself up quicker in terms of the van, the cage, etc. I feel like I could have probably set myself up quicker so that I was ready and more prepared to be a dog handler. But then you got to think of it, do you put that much money into it and then find out 2 months down the line you're like, oh actually maybe not. I never had the feeling that I wouldn't end up doing this, but I feel like that's what some people do. So yeah, I'll say I wish I'd been where I am now in terms of setup when I first started, but like I say, once you forked out the £2,500 for your NASDU and that, to have X amount to go and buy a van and the cage and all that, it is a bit much. But yeah, I'll say that's my one regret. And lastly, my best tip for new handlers and the people that want to get into this, I'd say the difference between the start of the year and where I am now, I'll say my tip for you would be when you go and you start working as a security dog handler, if you can get 15-hour shifts, do the 15-hour shifts. If you're going to work, it doesn't make any difference whether you're working 12 hours or 15 hours. The only reason I'm saying do 15 hours is that 4 15-hour shifts is the same as 5 12-hour shifts. So I can work 4 days a week and earn the same money than I would be if I was working 5 days a week doing 12-hour shifts. So you can give yourself that extra day off, or if you want to work that 5th day, it's more money. So that would be my tip for you. If you can get a site with 15 hours rather than 12 hours, do that, because you can get yourself an extra day off, or you can get yourself an extra 150 quid a week or whatever it is in terms of your pay. And I'll say, yeah, that's my best tip, because like I say, if I personally just give myself an extra day off, because although my last day finishes in the morning, the next day is kind of a write-off because I'm still asleep at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it just gives you that extra little night off that you can spend with your family and that. And I'll say, yeah, that's my best tip for people coming into it. So yeah, that's 2021 rounded up. There's some positives, some negatives, a tip. I've really enjoyed it. It has been, like I say, one of my best working years. I've really enjoyed every day of it. It's been tough at times, like I've said, but overall it's been one of the best working years. I've not had a day where I've got up not wanting to go to work. At the end, sometimes I felt like, I'm a bit knackered, or I don't really feel like I want to go to work the next day because I'm too tired. But as soon as I wake up that next day and I've had a sleep, I'm ready to go again. And like I say, it's just been one of the best years I've had working, and I'm really happy that I made the switch. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, put any comments down below, Next week I will do a roundup of my year anniversary on YouTube doing this, and then we'll go from there. Right, cheers for watching guys, see you later, make sure you subscribe, bye. Come on, find it. Where's he bloody left it? Come on in! Good boy.